So thank you very much for the kind invitation to have a speech here. Actually, I would like to talk to you about how to deal with uncertainty. Yeah, and we talk a lot about uncertainty right now, very UK-specific uncertainty, but there's much more uncertainty out there, especially for the car industry and for other technology industries. Bosch is a technology giant. Automotive is only one part of our businesses. We are also providing goods for consumers. We're providing industrial applications and building applications. Yeah. So we have a broad spectrum of products and services, and the world around us is changing. It's changing. It's changing in a technology way. So you have different technologies: autonomy, artificial intelligence. You have electrification. Trading relationships seem to change, seem to erode. We have debates like Brexit, and in other parts of the world there are different kind of debates, and we don't know what this is leading to in the end. So our business environment is quite uncertain. There's a lot of fog out there, and so we need to make decisions for the future in order to transform into a position where we can be very successful. And that's one of the motives for this talk. How do you do that? I mean, what we don't have as engineers, as an engineering company, we don't have a clear belief system which leads us to the right direction to go, no matter what we can see or not. We don't have a crystal ball. What we try to do is to approach uncertainty in a very structured way. So what we do, we talk to a lot of experts in our company, abroad, in academia, world regions, partners, business partners, try to understand which kind of directions of development around a lot of drivers could be foreseen. So how could, for example, we end up with autonomous driving? Will it be rather an organic development of a system, driver system, or will it be disruptive? How does international trade relationship evolve? Yeah, will it stay more or less as it is now, or will we have more protectionism? And so on and so forth. We have like domain-specific topics for mobility. How high will be the level of sharing? And this thing is then, again, interconnected with the technology stuff, because the electrified autonomous vehicle has a very good business case if you have a sharing economy, if you don't own the car, if you have robotaxis or whatever. So when you come to the point that all these different drivers, be it the political, economic, or whatever, are interconnected. So you are not so free to choice. So if you, for example, have a society where you have connected economies, you can train your algorithm for artificial intelligence for consumer products in a much better way, because by each application they get smarter. So if there are more consumers using the same service, it gets better. Just think about the Google search engine. If you have protectionism, you don't have that, then maybe the AI application will be stronger in some other sectors, like military. If you have a lot of conflicts, they will get stronger. So the different worlds we will live in, we cannot really foresee, but we can understand how consistent structures of these drivers work. And we came up for our strategy discussion, also internally, with our 400,000 employees, we came up with some pictures of the future which are consistent in itself, and which may be realized in a similar form across world regions. Not the whole world, but even today we have different development models in the first and in the third world and so on. So we have different pictures like national shielding, protectionism, a lot of global conflicts, national autarky, which normally leads to lower GDPs, lower incomes level, lower wealth. North Korea is the prime example for a complete shielded economy. Then you have, but if you go to the right-hand side, to the scenarios where you have more like international cooperation, there's a next scenario called Fragmented Society. What does it mean? It's a society where the wealth distribution is not very even, where global wealth elites have a lot of buying power, and so the sophisticated products and services go to that segment, and the broad classes or middle class is not really the buying power. Yeah? Something you can see in some world regions today. So if we are able, maybe in Europe, to overcome that issue, to have some, let's say, some consumer class, some broad consumerism, this can be supported by let's say, by strong technology giants. We see it in the IT sphere. Yeah? So we do as much consumerism as possible, but we have to support it with a business model maybe which does everything which is possible. So in this kind of world, you may have some ecological problems. You first grow, later solve the issues of climate. Or you first grow, later talk about individual rights. You share your individual data in order to have a lot of artificial intelligence and a lot of services, which then in turn may diminish your freedom. And last but not least, we have the healthy, wealthy world, where you try to get to balance everything a little bit, yeah? Where you balance ecological sustainability, you balance freedom, you balance value chains, you reduce monopolies, oligopolies. This does utopias, and none of these worlds will be realized. We build them bottom up and not top down. They seem to be top down, we build them bottom up. But they're interesting for strategy discussions because we want to position such that we are stable against such developments. And for our discussions, we developed some clips, and maybe you are interested to see one, how these worlds may look like.
Stacy, I feel technological progress isn't all that bad for the people. I will try to see it in the consumer society. Oh guys, I see a world that is under the influence of a global oligopolistic structure, especially of IT giants who influence regulations in their favor. This has led to maximum utilization of intelligent technologies with highly negative effects on the environment. By significantly accelerating AI and IoT, some software companies have created a digital twin of the physical world. With society having very little concern about data security, new digital values from customized services and products have been created. In addition, strong consumerism within the society has pushed shorter product life cycles. But other technological innovations have enabled the rise of dark factories, leading to a significant loss of blue-collar jobs. Furthermore, there is a strong market consolidation with vertical and horizontal acquisitions. These IT giants create strong influence over government and business-friendly policies. Because of rising unemployment, corporations provide basic social benefits to minimize the prosperity gap within society. Transport efficiency and sustainability have a high value. Thus, governments have introduced restrictions over private vehicle ownership in their economies. Therefore, there is an increased trend towards shared mobility services. Due to this, OEMs' mobility sales have decreased. However, to protect the existence of the remaining OEM companies, AI and electric powertrain development are supported. With strong economic growth, there is a stable and peaceful geopolitical environment where governments focus on climate protection measures. However, these were implemented late, and the efforts taken were very drastic. All sectors had to shift to environmentally friendly technologies, so CO2 emissions have been dramatically reduced. Guys, in the consumer society, the global market is dominated by a few big corporations. Society is highly consumer-oriented at the cost of data privacy. Factories are completely automated. Governments restrict private ownership of vehicles. Smart living is for everyone.
So sort of pictures we're working with, and we can drill it much deeper to very differentiated scenarios. But for our general discussions, we use these pictures, and we use this also for the employees. And no matter how the world will turn and how it will develop to, for us it's important to develop what is similar and what would be robust approaches for us, strategic approaches. And what are maybe levers we can also use to help to develop to nicer realizations of these future pictures. So there are along these scenarios, you have different kind of energy mixes. Either you are more reliant on CO2 or less. Yeah? You have different kinds of individual mobility. So if you have more autonomy on the streets, probably you will have more sharing also. Regarding manufacturing, we are also a big manufacturer and also providing automation services to the industry. Industry 4.0, it also is quite different. So if you stay with these large international supply chains, they will automate further. You may have dark factories in the end. You will have even more integration into supply chains. If you shield your economy nationally, so maybe there will be some less technology used. So whatever happens, we need to position ourselves. Not only we, also you as companies, also national economies. The question is where. And for us, it's important to have a robust position. So no matter what happens in the various global markets we are in, we need to focus on the right technologies, on the right approaches. So for us, it's these things. It's connectivity for the future. We have started to become a leader of IoT. We have not only have smart products, we have even the software service, IoT suite. We can connect things. We have one of the most important ecosystems of a classic player already developed. We focus on electrification because it will be there. I cannot predict how much and when, but it will be there and it will be important, and there will be different routes to it. It may be via hydrogen, it may be via battery, but we need maybe hybrid, whatever. We position ourselves strongly. In energy efficiency, we do it. In automation and AI, we become a leading player in artificial intelligence. So we will quadruple our scientists there within the next 2 years to 4,000. And we take our responsibility for climate protection seriously. I come to that in a minute. I just want to show you what this means in the area of automotive mobility right here. I mean, all of you know probably these e-bikes, these fancy e-bikes. This pretty much came out of our kind of strategic thinking. And it started as an internal funding because we thought that would be a stable, good segment to invest in with small internal corporate funds. Now it's a thriving market, and we are the market leader in that technology. Or think about mobility services, which will become more and more important. I mean, we will not provide all these services, but we will provide the IoT backbone for that. So we even have founded a new division for IoT, Internet of Things, in mobility just last year. And we will provide all the things service providers or technology partners need to set up their businesses. And we will serve all these progressive players, like you see electrified truck there. It's powered by a fuel cell from Bosch. So while we stay committed to our traditional partners, we also cooperate with new partners to build the future. And this needs more than just technology, because I said the traditional value chains are breaking up. The profit pools are shifting away from these directed value chains. Instead, you get what economists call value networks, multi-directional, or we can call it ecosystem. A lot of players enter in there, not only the established ones, but a lot of emerging IT players. You need to be able to team up, because nobody has enough funds to create the future. You need to be able to team up. You need to rethink your business philosophy and your culture And this is what we have been doing quite for some years now. So we are really changing our approach to business in order to live with that kind of uncertainty which is coming. And last but not least, we think also that we need to be one of the many driving forces for change. So we're not only investing very much in our future, like billions in autonomous driving in the next years. No, but we also think that our footprint matters. We have a huge operational footprint. We have carbon emission by our foundries, by our factories, and therefore we have decided to become carbon neutral, not by 2050 or by 2030. We want to be carbon neutral by next year, and this means we are 10 years earlier than our initial plan was. And that's also because we think it's not only about positioning yourself in a stable way against all these changes of the world, but you do not need to be so defensive. You can be offensive. You can also try to shape the world you live in. And you shape it by the technologies, the services you provide, but also by these kind of actions by which we hope to inspire other players to consider similar kind of measures. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a seat, Professor. We've got a few minutes, and Dr. Micha is happy to answer questions, so I'll throw it straight open. But can I just think of a question and make a sign to one of those people with the microphones if you've got one. Just to follow up on that last point about taking the initiative. In that great kind of power struggle between governments and peoples and large industries, and you mentioned the tech sector, how powerful do you think industries like this are to be able to fight back, because that essentially is what it would be, against populism and nationalism and the kind of the putting up of barriers around the world? To what extent does your business, does your company, but more broadly industries that want to be outward-looking and free trading and all the rest of it, how powerful do you feel?
Well, first of all, I don't know if fight back is the right word to be used, because we're talking about, if we talk about the public, we're talking about our consumers. So customer is king. Yeah? So if they prefer a different kind of products and services, we need to be prepared to deliver it to them. Yeah? That's the first point. I mean, see, that's a very kind of business-like statement. Yeah? I mean, we are not, so we need to be able to understand what our customers want. But secondly, of course, then if you have political debates, public debates, a lot of things, well, we may feel that we would present different arguments in one or other area. But on the other hand, that's also free choice of a free society where to go. Yeah? So if we, so what we try to do is to provide facts about, for example, diesel, yeah, where we have maybe a different opinion than a lot of political parties in Germany. Yeah? To provide facts about electrification, to provide facts what is possible by when. Yeah? Of course, we do that. But in the end, I think, is it a fight against whom? Yeah? Or is it just taking a role as one of the many stakeholders of the development of our societies? Yeah? That's, and how powerful, well, power is maybe not the question, influence. I mean, if a company like Bosch, maybe we are not the biggest in the world, maybe we do not have the highest margins, but I think our reputation is very strong, our name is very strong, because we are sound business people, we have some ethics, and this is well known. So if we decide to do something or not to do something, I think at least some people may consider why we are doing that. And by that you may influence decision. So.
Yeah, okay. If anyone wants to ask a question, this is your opportunity so to do. Otherwise, I want to just focus on what you, again, right at the end of your talk, you talked about the 2020 2020 feels like, I mean, we're used to these carbon neutral targets, particularly from governments, and they're all, well, actually the 2040 on vehicles feels like a long way away. And they actually know, the politicians, that they're not going to be around to deal with them. In your case, you've chosen a target that I'm assuming you will be around to deal with. What specifically, what are you doing? What's the plan? Give us a kind of sense. Are you planting trees somewhere? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's part of the story, short term, yeah? Because, you know, we have foundries. I mean, of course, we could say now we only buy green power, yeah? And this is short term. This is one of the measures, like 40% of our electricity consumption will be from green power, which we just buy from the utilities. But then there will
what does that do to the cost of it?
Yes, I mean, this will be, in the next couple of years, this will be huge investments, of course. I think, I don't know.
It's significantly higher.
Significantly higher, of course. It will be but on the other hand, on the short term, we are also doing compensation measures because foundry needs to run with CO2 and emissions. But on the midterm, we will focus very much on efficiency, on saving energy. Yeah. So it will not, and also to switch more to like green energies used by our own processes. So in the end, this will be an evolution. So on the long term, we may even save by that because we can reduce our energy consumptions quite significantly. And we did it also in the past. That's why we can reach that goal even next year. I mean, that's the advantage because we are also providing industrial technology. So we use our own energy management systems, which we sell basically to industrial giants. We use it ourselves, applied it to all our plants. So in a sense, we are the lead provider, lead user in a sense for our own products. That helped a lot.
Yeah. You also touched on digitization and the kind of whole idea that you are as much a tech company as you are anything else now, and that will strike a chord for a lot of people in this room. Where does that lie now in the kind of corporate sense of the company, and what opportunities that gives you, and what challenges as well?
As a tech company?
Yeah.
So I mean, it starts with our slogan. Yeah, I mean, our slogan is, if you translate it to English, it's technology for life. So that's basically what we're doing. We're providing those who are living, so all the consumers, we provide you with a technology which makes your life better. That's basically the credo. So it's not about the ROI. In the first level, it's that. What do you want to do? And then we need to understand what does it mean in each time. I mean, at the moment we are providing washing machines, power tools. I think we are still the largest supplier in the automotive, but we are also providing quite different stuff. And this may change over time. So I'm doing corporate strategy, I'm doing the portfolio strategy. Of course, portfolio need to adjust to what is most beneficial to that goal. Yeah, that's for sure. But that very much shifts us away from a focus on short-term profits, rather on some sustainable long-term story. And what also helps is that we run by a foundation and not so we are not stocks listed.
Yeah. But I'm also thinking, I mean, you mentioned power tools and washing machines, two classic things that in the old world were just a thing, a lump that you sell someone and they use. That's not going to be the case, and certainly in 10 years' time, that there is going to be in the Internet of Things data that you will have access to, and whole new flows that will be of importance and potentially important as a business stream as well.
Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of when we talk about the future, there's always storytelling. Yeah, now we're telling stories about how much money you can earn by these digital services. Yeah. We need to see that. I mean, our forecast, we don't see very much profits, maybe revenues, but not profits in these services. So, and I think being able to do things, to do stuff, to understand technology, to engineer something, to create systems which are running well, I wouldn't underestimate it. And I think our digital services will be better because we understand the technology. We're not an IT giant. I mean, what you see, like companies like Google or so, they invest into the domain know-how. They buy companies who understand the technology.
And you're not going to do that.
And we are from the other way around. So, I mean, we
But do you see, I suppose my point is, do you see yourself changing as what you think of yourselves as a company, fundamentally in the future?
Yeah, of course, because we do need to do things differently. As I said, our businesses change. We need to work more in a co-opetition mode in ecosystems of players, where one time we are the supplier, other times the other is the supplier. That's typical for this IT-influenced world. Yeah, we have since years now. Our CEO has started like culture programs, like how do we work together. We stopped very much this kind of very processual kind of working, going more to agile way of working. So it changes very much how we run the company, of course. Yeah.
Fascinating. Dr. Raphael Micha, thank you so much, and a round of applause, please. Very good to know.